Welcome everyone to a quick little review and first impressions of the Prophet 6 by Sequential Circuits, or Sequential, actually, they used to be known as Sequential Circuits. But I have here the Prophet 6, and it's something that I've had this for a few months now, but it's only been in the last few weeks that I've actually had the chance to like really play with the knobs, to be honest. And I've always wanted to have an analog synth in my studio for the longest time. VSTs are great, but there is a tactile, physical, intimate difference between what you can do with a VST software instrument versus an actual. Even if it was a fully digital synth, there is still a difference. Anyway, so let's get into it. That song you heard at the intro is actually something that I wrote really quickly for this video, and it's something that I might release. It's more of a demo of a bunch of layers that the synth produces. I did add some vocals and also some guitar. Drums are not from the synth, but for the most part, 80% of the meat of that song is actually from the synth. So what is it? The Prophet 6 is more of an update rather than a new version of the Prophet 5 or 10, but it has a lot of very new and notable features like stereo spread, built-in digital effects that the 5 and 10 obviously doesn't have, glide, sub oscillator. Some of the sounds sound really beefy with that sub, sounds amazing, analog distortion, ARP sequencer, and then the slop, which messes with the pitch modulation, I believe, so it kind of detunes them. So it sounds really good though. The build, well, I don't really have a point of reference because it's my first synth, but it is solidly built, made of a metal casing. Knobs are really smooth. There's some variance between the knobs, but that's splitting hairs. Side panels are wood, it's got the look of an analog synth, which is sick. There's a vent in the back, prevents it from overheating. It does get warm, but it doesn't get toasty, so that's fine, So the ports in the back include power, USB, MIDI in and out, sequence, sustain, volume, low pass filter, left, out, right out, and your phones or headphones input. Sound samples. Let's play some sound samples. You guys don't want to see me that much. Boop. Okay. The way I have it wired, it's set up going to stereo to my audio interface, and then the MIDI controller is the Native Instruments S88 Mark II. Okay, so before we actually start, one of the cool features is the weather in LA lately has been changing a lot. It gets hot. We have AC on. You have to tune the damn thing every now and then. So hold preset and then 1. And then it goes into tuning mode, so you can see there. Lasts about 15-20 seconds. And it's done. And here are some presets that I personally wrote a while back ago. I'm adding more sub noise. I'm gonna add some distortion to it. 1 second, if I can reach it. That sounds really nice. Something like that. I want to show you this track I wrote really quickly, and this is what I mean by committing to the tracks, because I only have one of these synths. If I had like 6 of them, it might be easier to work with. But because I only have one and I'm trying to layer everything, I have to commit the tracks. So let's just start here. Layer 1. There we go. So it's a good example of how I'm using it, at least in a session. Really, the main reason I got this, on top of it being analog, I always wanted to have an analog synth, but that's not really the selling point for me. It's more of a workflow change, because something like this forces you to commit to whatever you're writing. Going back and trying to change something is really hard because you're writing to audio. The song I wrote at the beginning took me like 30 minutes to write because it's so simple, and I didn't have to go back and change my mind. One of the biggest issues I have is I write a song using VST instruments, you see all the MIDI notation, and then I go back and I change it or duplicate it or look for better sounding synth. And if you have, like me, you know, like the Native Instruments Complete Ultimate Library, you have so many freaking options to choose from, and you're just browsing and listening and spending too much time looking for options when the original sound that you found that inspired you to write a certain piece or rhythm or melody was there to begin with. There's no reason to change it. And so this has already at least saved me a little, actually has saved me quite a bit of time by committing to the track, because I know I can't go back. The other thing I did was buy the Prophet 6 editor by Codeknobs. It's like $100 software if you buy the VST and the standalone software. I thought it was really important because I have friends who actually also own the Prophet 6, and also if you buy sound banks or you want to give some away, that's one of the few ways that's easy to be able to import patches, save patches, and also have the Prophet 6 sync with your DAW on the clock. So like if you set your BPM to 120, that's going to be set to 120, and you can change it and all that stuff. So it does help quite a bit. You can also change the physical settings on the synth with the VST, which is a little bit of a kind of a catch-22 because the original reason I got is to actually be more hands-on. Anyway, still useful features. The VST is very useful also, by the way. So the Prophet 6 has 9 sound banks. The first 4 banks, each bank has 100 presets. The first 4 banks, which is 400, are user writable, so you can change it up, save them, and then 5 through 9 are the banks that are built in and they can't be changed. So really, you're not really going to be touching those unless you like to play with presets all the time. Well, I hope you enjoyed this quick little review and first impressions of the Prophet 6. I'm really excited to play with it even more. So more music and more sort of behind the scenes writing coming to this channel later on. Peace out, guys.